So I think it is about time that we focus our attention towards the YouTuber Thunderf00t and others that support, collaborate, and ignore/justify his actions for ideological tribalism. Since the most recent drama was about him feeling a big sad about others mocking his pain in the same way he mocked the pain of rape victims and victims of online harassment. This has been brought up by one of his sycophants, Slicker, who has this incredible response to the karmic backlash that Thunderf00t has received. Now that we have heard Slicker's arguments, let us turn our attention to Thunderf00t. Thunderf00t has a history of online harassment and doxing that goes back years. It starts with Thunderf00t, a young YouTuber who he doxed and harassed until he was driven offline. Thunderf00t contacted his employer and even contacted his parents in a clear attempt at intimidation and bullying. You could easily have learned about this sordid story by simply Googling it. Yet the tribalism of his fanboys has kept them ignorant of this history. The next victim of Thunderf00t's harassment was a YouTuber called Films. He and Thunderf00t argued back and forth vigorously until Thunderf00t doxed him, and Thunderf00t's fanboys began to threaten his life. He at that point contacted Thunderf00t's employer, Cornell University, to complain of the harassment, only to be told that he had already been fired for other harassment charges. This could have easily been investigated by his fanboys again with a simple Google search. There was also his infamous interview with Ray Comfort, in which he claims that science has benefited from the Holocaust. Statements that no reputable scientist would ever make. I will point out once again that anyone could have Google searched his background to see what a charlatan Thunderf00t is. Now, in the interest of fairness, let's hear what Thunderf00t's fanboys think of this.
Oh my gosh! That's dang it.
As you can see, no matter how many times you tell them to simply Google it, they constantly asked for more links. It is clearly a painful state of denial. Thunderf00t then was invited to write on free thought blogs, but as soon as he began to lash out at the very people who invited him there, being as nasty as he could, until they finally had to ask him to leave. He then hacked into their system to spy on them and steal their personal data. He threatened to dox them all at that point. I will once again point out that a simple Google search would have revealed this to anyone. I now want to address his continuing attacks on Anita Sarkeesian. She is his biggest target to date, and you can tell how frustrated he is that his continuous harassment has not forced her offline. She is clearly much stronger than him, and his fans who, much like in the past, take their cues from him and attack anyone he is unhappy with or dislikes. Just like in the case of Thunderf00t, or Films, death threats are the staple meal of his fanboys, but since Anita is a woman, they now add threats of rape. All the while he makes videos about her and laughs at her claims of harassment, which he himself set in motion, so that he can make a profit from the harassment even as it is ongoing through his Patreon account. He even tried to blame her for his Twitter suspension, even though he was suspended for harassing her. Now this story takes an odd turn. It seems a YouTuber who goes by the name Bewildered Ape has decided to mock and parody Thunderf00t's harassment of others by harassing him in similar ways. The reaction from his fanboys was predictable. Almost immediately they became incensed, which recently culminated in Slicker making a video where he calls this YouTuber Bewildered Rape in order to attack his character. Since rape is such a staple of the discourse within the fanboys of Thunderf00t, I am not surprised in the least to see such a poor choice of attack. I will leave you now with a small clip of what the fanboys will be doing now that I have shared this information with you.